Hey you, what if I told you I'm back? The hospital was a drag, worst sleep that I ever had. I haven't. Wow, that's loud. That's a very loud chair creak. Okay, chat is disabled. This is very confusing. Okay. Wow, that's loud. That's a very loud chair creak. Why is it that delayed? Okay, chat is disabled. This is very confusing. Okay. Wow, that's loud. That's a very loud chair creak. Why is it that delayed? Okay, chat is disabled. This is very confusing. Why is it just... Okay, I have like... Because I can't have my own stream open, but I don't feel like it should be that okay. It's always delayed? Okay. Okay. Alright, so right now I need to put this fucking thank you, mute the video because it's looping. I was like fucking myself up. I was like, oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna hang on. Okay. Is this working, by the way? Like, you can see this? Because if I can't get that to work, then there's no point in anything. But if you can message me the response to this on Discord, I have that open, like, on my phone. Okay, perfect. So I think... Can you see me? Probably not, right? Because I have to put the... Okay, I see what it is. I have to put this on top of the stack, right? Oh, and my camera's fucking off. That'll do it. Can you see me now? I just want to make sure, because I can't figure out how to get chat on an unlisted live. So I'm gonna pop it into, like, public, but I want to make sure you can actually see me first. I can't see the chat. How do I can I, like, pop out my own chat and mute the video? Is that possible? Okay. All right. I'm gonna... thank you. I'm going public. I'm so scared. Okay, so now if I come over here to my own channel... Oh, I already got a notification. Scary. Okay, so how do I pop out my own chat? Oh, 3 live viewers already. Hello. I'm probably one of those at least. Okay. Oh, my heart is pounding. Why is this scary? Okay. Muting that. No, my chat is still disabled. How can I enable chat? This is embarrassing. Okay, hang on. Oh, because I somehow clicked it's made for kids? It's not made for kids. Is that going to give me... Can we chat if I said it's not made for kids? Oh god, I'm getting... This is so stressful. I'm so sorry. This is like the worst live stream anyone's ever seen. Okay, hang on. I'm getting messages from Sunny, because Sunny has done many more live streams than me at this point. Select live commentary to enable. Okay. Well, I did say I wanted to kill a few minutes before I started doing the stream, so I guess that's something. Okay. Top right, create, go live, under customization, check the live chat. But I'm already live. Do I just still say go live even though I'm live? Okay, live control room. Maybe I should have looked at this first. Yeah. Oh. What's happening? Not that. Oh god. Okay, I have to... Okay. It's asking me, I'm setting all this stuff up, but I'm already live, so I don't want to set it back up. Okay, welcome to live chat. I think I did something. Do we have a chat? Is anything happening? Oh, hello! Hello! Oh my gosh. Okay, we got it. That is so exciting. All right. We did it. We did it. I just have to mod Sunny real quick. All right. Hello. I'm trying to see if it's possible for me to pop out like just my chat so that I can look at that while I'm doing my tier ranking. Hello. Hi. So many people are here. Wow. I was sweating too, Sunny. All right. Perfect. I can't figure out how to pop out this chat. Maybe I feel like I'm gonna have to go open this over in like in my Chrome, in my Firefox tab, I mean, because Firefox often will let me pop stuff out that Chrome does not want to let me do. Or else maybe I guess I can just try to pull up the chat on my phone. Very glad the microphone is working too, because my USB ports are both very fiddly. So I have like my Ethernet cable in and then also the microphone, and I was nervous. Okay. This is not loading at all on this. Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to, I have like just that one open because I'm trying to get my thing. Okay, I am going to pull up because I want to be able to look at the chat because this is very exciting. So Sunny, my new moderator, Sunny has been in like the live stream mode recently. He's been working on like sprites for his videos and stuff, and I've been having a lot of fun hanging out in his live streams. But I have not done it myself, and he's been trying to talk me into it, and I thought I was going to make him talk me into it for longer. And I'm distracting myself because I still have the video stream up on my computer. Okay. I know, I'm struggling. I'm sorry. It's also way behind because I went back to just the tier thing, and then it's still showing when I had the website open. Okay. Okay, so I have my phone, and I guess I'm just gonna pull up my own live stream on my phone and then look at my chat there. Except, oh, because I'm in studio, maybe that's what's doing it. Yeah, Sunny was like, you should spend a couple minutes looking at like the broadcasting thing, and I thought I did. I thought I had figured out how to pull up my chat, and I did not. Oh God, echo. I'm sorry. Okay, now I have my chat here, like physically. Okay. Let me mosey on over here. So I tweeted about this, or well, I posted on Blue Sky because I don't have Twitter anymore. I made like a little chart of some of the things that I've seen people getting angry at Chappell Roan for this year, which I've also made a video about one of them. I also, like, you know, we talked about the whole secret Republican thing when she didn't want to do an endorsement, and that is on this list. But I did put some other things on the list too, and I just thought this would be fun. I love talking about Chappell Roan, and I thought that would be like a nice way to talk to people on a stream and not get too nervous. So thank you so much. Sorry. Thank you so much to everybody for showing up. This is very exciting. I set up my own custom tiers here, so I struggle with how like these charts are actually supposed to go. But I think the most severe one is at the top, or at least that's where I put it. And that is Chappell Use Your Sword Challenge, which is for, you know, when people have the stupidest reasons to be angry. We have Leave Chappell Alone right underneath that, which is like, you know, leave Britney alone, obviously. You people don't deserve her. It sounds mean, but I put it in the mild one because it's just true about Chappell Roan. Nuance is for if I think there's like both sides to be seen at something that people were mad at her about, and the haters have a point in case the haters had a point. Those are my tiers here. I've never done a tier ranking before. This could be a fun live stream setup though, if it's something that we enjoy doing here. Okay, so I see Marty is in the chat. Hello, Marty. Marty actually responded to my post on Blue Sky and suggested cis women can't do drag as one of the things that people have been angry at Chappell Roan for this year, which I completely agree is one of the stupidest things. And I think do we start all the way on Chappell Use Your Sword Challenge? I feel like we do. I feel like she has that right, but I also feel like this is going to be a very sword-heavy tier. Marty says, I discovered Chappell Roan like this year because a fellow gay showed me her Tiny Desk, and now she's my most streamed artist. That Tiny Desk is incredible. I was really, really hoping she would do one, and then it was, like, so much better than I even could have hoped for. It is iconic, world-changing, never been done before. And then they still have the wig with, like, the cigarettes and stuff in it for the later ones. Oh my god, it's so good. Right, yes, I think we have a consensus on the swords here, yeah. Marky popping in to say IDGAF about people hating Chappell Roan. She's my #1 artist, and all of Midwest Princess is in my top 20. Sue me, hell yes. I had more Taylor Swift than I was expecting, and I think that that's because Tortured Poets sent me down like a whole rabbit hole. And if Tortured Poets had not come out this year, it would have been Chappell, and I was a little disappointed it wasn't Chappell. But Good Luck Babe is one of the first non-Taylor Swift songs on my Wrapped. So yeah, I think cis women can't do drag absolutely belongs in Chappell Use Your Sword Challenge. I even, and people were nice. They weren't really, like, hating on Chappell Roan too much. Also, I have no idea where to look. I'm so sorry. I keep remembering I'm not talking to my phone. I'm talking to the webcam. But a couple of people were like, oh, well, you said she's not profiting off of drag queens, but she is, because that's how she's making her money. And I was like, but she's a drag queen. Like, that's like saying that I'm profiting off of lesbians by making, like, videos about being a lesbian. Like, I'm just here. She's just there. I need to take a drink of water. I'm trying to remember Sunny's advice for me before I started streaming. I feel like most of these are going to be bring down your sword. Yeah, I think so too. I debated even leaving on the haters have a point or not, because I was like, I don't think they ever do. All right, I feel like I should pick randomly. Which one did I land on? Oh, lesbian purity testing. We have another sword. We got another sword. So lesbian purity testing, I wrote thinking about how people are, like, really, really strange about the fact that she has had an ex-boyfriend. They think, I mean, it's just classic lesbophobia shit. But it makes me mad when people act like people don't have the right to, like, change their mind about who and what they are later. Like, I know so many lesbians who have had boyfriends, and this is like a preview of a joke I make in the Rent video, but also, like, I feel like there's a very specific kind of guy who is, like, one of the last dudes a lesbian will date, and I feel like we are erasing something about our culture if we're not allowed to acknowledge that sometimes lesbians will date one last boy before they get off the train. I think Chappell has been, like, so much more than clear about the fact that she is gay and that she is attracted to women that it's very frustrating for me for people to act like there's any kind of need for there to be, like, a gold star with that when there just isn't. She's a drag queen who literally had a drag mother. What more do we want from her? Right! Like, okay, if we're looking at the list of, like, drag queens, there was that one, and I didn't put her on the list, but, like, there was that one who was kind of making fun of her at the VMAs, and I hated that. But by and large, I have only seen drag queens really, really loving and celebrating Chappell Roan, which is another reason why I don't feel like she's, like, exploiting their culture or something. I'm not a huge Chappell fan, but I can see when people are being BS towards a popular woman. Absolutely. Yep. She gets a lot of that. I was so mad I didn't wait for the VMAs to do a painting of her because I would have 100% used my feeble energy to paint her night look. Oh, Marty, I loved the painting that you did of Chappell, though. That was the one with, like, the cowboy hat and, like, the mirror ball on it. It was so good. It was so cool. You should put, like, the link to it in chat if you can. I don't know if it'll let you send. I think if Sunny is allowed to make you a mod, Sunny can make you a mod, or I will do that later. So that it'll let you approve your own link if you want to put that in the chat. Because I loved that art that you did a lot of Chappell. And I think I mentioned this in my Chappell Roan is not a secret Republican video. I worked on that video for a long time, and I think I finished it, like, the night before the VMAs came out or something like that. And I was like, either I can wait and there will be so many more things to talk about after the VMAs, or I can just get this, like, version of it out, which is why I did the Secret Republican one when I did, because I'm like, I'm gonna just talk about Chappell Roan a bunch of times. I might as well make, like, episodes. Good Luck Babe is, of course, also in my top 20. Absolutely. Chappell just speaks to in a way an artist hasn't in a while. Last one like this was Orville Peck, and learning he's an influence on Chappell just made sense. I think I did hear that too. Yeah, for sure. Some people were upset because Chappell was breaking records as the first drag to do blank. It was weird. Yeah, I could see that. I did see somebody too, like, their complaint was more along the lines of, like, that they felt like Chappell wouldn't be impacted by, like, a drag ban, that she would still be able to perform, and so therefore they were, like, kind of frustrated by feeling like she was inserting herself in that. But I don't feel for sure that they wouldn't still include her in a drag ban. Like, I understand why somebody would think that, but I also think, like, she did count as drag because she had to do those at, like, over 18 shows. So it's complicated, and, like, I understand why there's some nuance, but I also feel like there's a lot of a desire from, like, people who have no, like, familiarity with drag culture to just be like, well, I know the rules, and the rules are that this woman can't do that. And that definitely rubs me the wrong way. Until I defeat my 7 evil ex-boyfriends with a sword, I will never truly be queer. All right. I think I am on top messages and not on live. Thank you for reminding me. Breeds a bit like when some people say some identities aren't LGBT because they're not oppressed enough. Yeah, for sure. I think, like, and do we really think that she would be more oppressed as a lesbian if she just hadn't spent a few years with a boyfriend? Like, she's a lesbian now. Like, I just don't understand why it's supposed to matter. First time catching a live. Hi, this is the first live ever. Welcome. I'm glad you could make it. There are a lot of people here. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so there are 34 of us. Thank you so much. was going to post this on Blue Sky once I got rolling, and then now I have my chat up, so I don't want to. But I really appreciate everybody showing up, because I didn't promote this at all. If you're just showing up, because there's like 34 people, that's so cool. I'm doing a tier ranking. I just came up with these kind of off the top of my head. And I think we were already talking about Good Luck Babe in the chat. So I think rather than Sword, I will say probably leave Chappell alone for Good Luck Babe is biphobic. Obviously, I'm a lesbian. I understand that bisexual women might have different feelings about that, but my understanding about why that one is stupid is like, I don't think that Good Luck Babe is actually about getting left for a man. And I have found that when I poll people, most of the lesbians I have asked have, like, agreed with my read on it, which is that Good Luck Babe is a song Chappell Roan is, like, singing to herself, and to the version of herself that struggles with compulsory heterosexuality. And I can understand somehow getting to a read where Good Luck Babe is biphobic if maybe you think that it is very clearly, like, I don't know, I kissed a girl, but actually by a lesbian. But I think it's like, it's not a literal story of like, oh, you are now with a man and now he's not as good as me. Like, that was... See, normally I get to like just clip those things out and then I make a really unpleasant noise after I notice I did it, but I stopped myself. I don't think it's like an actual like straight up narrative though of like, I'm in love with this woman and then she marries this man and I am directly telling her she's never going to be anything more than his wife. Like, it's very obvious when you wake up next to him in the middle of the night with your head in your hands, you're nothing more than his wife. Like, that is a deep and internal fear. That is the Sydney Gish likely married to personified business khakis. Like, she's not actually saying that to someone else. She's not being biphobic. She's being mad at herself for convincing herself that she was maybe bisexual for so long. It's almost like compet is a thing. Right, you would think, but none of these people are willing to acknowledge that when they want to criticize Chappell Roan. I'd argue that the compet is part of the oppression. Like, what are we doing saying she's somehow privileged for her experiences within that? Absolutely agree. Imagine we lived in a heteronormative society. The hate on Chappell Roan always seems like people are just so ready to hate on a woman who claims to be, is actually a lesbian, who pushes for a lot of movements that they agree with, but is either too good to be true or not good enough, and it will never be good enough. I completely agree. I totally agree. Like, she's doing so much more than so many other people are, which would make me want to let her get away with more, but it's also even the things people get mad at her about don't feel like they're worth being mad about. Like, I'm not even actually letting her get away with it because she's just being normal. Even if it was singing to another woman, people should just be allowed to be messy after a heartbreak. I'd say a lot of Chappell songs are really honest in how complex she is as a person. I completely agree. 100%. I was going to say I'm bi, but then I remembered some discoveries I made about myself this year, so oh well. Your video about the master doc helped, by the way. Well, hello, let's celebrate that. That's amazing. I love to hear that. Obviously not to, like, present it as if, like, that's, like, a graduation or anything. I obviously still love all of my bisexual friends as well, but I am very pro exploring and figuring things out, and that's really cool to know that my videos could be helpful with that. Thank you for letting me know. Hi, bi here, lol, no, it's not biphobic. Completely agree. I'm bisexual, and the only people I've seen being biphobic were on Twitter, and I imagine Chappell would say shut the fuck up to them. Yeah, no, I agree. I really think so, too. I think I've experienced biphobia in real life a lot, but I don't think Chappell is even close to that. Different appearances. Yeah. I've experienced biphobia. The most common way is the purest lesbian thing. I've had a couple women poo-poo me for liking men, but it's not super common anymore in my experience. Yeah. No, I think, like, I definitely got a handful of comments that were saying that it was, like, refreshing. This feels very self-congratulatory to be saying, but like a couple of people told me like, oh, it's refreshing that you were willing to like take up for bisexual women in the 4B exclusion video. But I do feel like it's kind of become more mainstream for lesbians to want to make it clear that like we love bisexual women and that we feel like we have more things in common with them than otherwise, and that people who are trying to like tear us apart are being mean and divisive for no reason. And obviously that's not always the case, but I'm glad that it sometimes is like becoming more mainstream, because I feel like bisexual women and lesbians don't need to be fighting. We should just be kissing each other. I gotta hop out to take a nap, but have a good stream. Thank you so much for popping in. I hope you have a good nap. I am a big fan of naps. I napped for like 6 hours the other day. Okay. All right. Let me see. All right. Let's do lesbian songs are too centered on men. I'm putting that one in sword. We gotta use the sword on that one. That one pisses me off, and it might be something where I just only saw a couple of things on Twitter, and then it just made me think more people said that than not, but oh my god. So I saw a handful of people after her performance on SNL where she did The Giver, or like, She Gets the Job Done, I think is what it's, I think I used to think it was going to be called She Gets the Job Done, and then now it's called The Giver, but I like mixed those two up for a second. But basically, and I could have also put that this one is, people were saying that this one is transphobic, but I just truly believe, like, we know enough about Chappell Roan to know that her intention would not have been that that would have been, like, a transphobic song, but it's the song where she's saying, like, only a woman can, like, have good sex with a woman, basically. Like, I can't remember exactly what the line is. I'm so sorry to Chappell. I will have it memorized once it's on Spotify. But I did see a handful of people who were saying, like, oh, this song is a song about men, even though it's a song about women. Like, so she shouldn't mention men at all. We should just have lesbian songs that are only about women. And it's like, if you are paying that much attention to, like, the offhanded reference to a man in that song and in Good Luck Babe, that it's making you, like, what is that? That's like and I'm taking it all the way back, because this also another reason I wanted to stream, because we are just about on the 1 year anniversary of my channel. It was a couple days ago. My first video ever was about the Bechdel test, right? And I don't know how many of the people in the chat have, like, gone that far back in the catalog or not, but I was talking about how the Bechdel test was this, like, observation that Alison Bechdel, a lesbian cartoonist, made in the 90s about how lonely it was to be a lesbian, and how then the Bechdel test turned into this, like, test that people were, like, reverse, like, trying to see whether or not media was good enough by being like, does it pass this rigorous test by this scholar? And then Alison Bechdel is like, dude, I am literally just a lesbian cartoonist. Why are you acting like this is the be-all end-all of everything? And that was my first video that I made, because I had been working on Ruthless at that point, and then I wanted to work on, like, something that I could actually accomplish. But this kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, oh, there's, like, here's a lesbian, we better make sure that what we are holding her to is just, like, this ridiculous and unbelievable standard that we also then are going to judge everything else and its merits by. Happy anniversary. Thank you. Yeah. It was, I think towards the beginning of this week, I'm not sure, but I woke up that morning with 9,500 subscribers, which was amazing. It was so cool. Why are we playing the Bechdel test to Chappell Roan songs about her own experiences? That's what I'm saying, right? Like, it really does feel like they are trying to Bechdel test it, and it's like the presence of men or references to men was not what the Bechdel test was ever talking about. Oh yeah, Ruthless. Ruthless was a video that I made about like the town I grew up in and this woman who calls herself the AIDS Angel, and she's a big ol' scam artist. She is terrible, and she got like a whole book deal to write this book called All the Young Men, where she really centers herself and like overinflates what she did during the AIDS crisis. And I talked to a survivor in the area, Tim Looper, who I adore. I love him so much. He's going to be in future videos too, and he also popped up in my first Chappell video. I talked to Tim Looper and also to a social worker who runs the actual like HIV clinic down in Hot Springs, and they were able to help me actually piece together what happened. That was going to be what I launched the whole channel with, and then it just got really overwhelming because I was so ambitious. Like, in retrospect, I can't believe I reached out to Tim Looper, and in the future I would not. Like, I just messaged this guy who I saw in an NBC article on Facebook, and I was like, I'm from the same town you're from. Can we talk about this? Because this is crazy. And I got so lucky because he is like the kindest man in the world. But that was going to be my first video ever. What on earth was I thinking? And at some point while I was working on it, I realized like, oh my God, what am I thinking? And I realized I needed to like practice first, which is why my first few videos are like kind of low impact subject material. Ruthless video needs more hype. It's so good. Thank you. Thank you. A handful of people found it, like, I think, like, at the beginning of the month for World AIDS Day, because I shared it again, and then a couple of people shared it on Blue Sky, and I'm always really, really excited when people get to that one, because I'm so, so proud of that one. Oh, did you have to moderate something, Sunny? 1 year, congrats. I found you because of the Eat Predators coverage. Thank you. Yeah. A lot of people, I got recognized in a CVS one time, and the person who recognized me for my videos, they recognized me for my videos and also because I was very much wearing an outfit I film in. It was like that color block sweater. But they also had said that it was the Alexa videos that brought them to my channel, and I was like, oh, that's very cool. Okay. I love the way Tim speaks. I love Tim so much too. Yeah. Okay, so let me see a scandal. Oh, okay. Oh, just link the video. I was like, oh my God, are the haters here? The Drake Bell fan club is probably seething and molding that I am doing a live right now. Okay, yeah, so last one we did was the lesbian songs being too centered on men, and I think Chappell Use Your Sword challenge on that one is completely relevant, because she gets to write about whatever she wants to. It's her own experience. I think, okay, let's do maybe the only one that I actually have some nuance for is canceling festival performances. So there were like, I think just maybe one. I think there's only maybe one that I actually have nuance for. There was at least one festival that Chappell was like very heavily like advertised that she was going to, and then she ended up canceling it like maybe like a day or two before. And I think that was All Things Go. But I could be wrong. But anyway, she did get some heat for canceling a festival performance kind of last minute, and my nuance is still that I think that she had every right to cancel that performance and also the other one we'll talk about later. But you know, I do also understand people who are frustrated, because if I had been really excited to go to a festival and I was excited because she was going to be there and then she wasn't there, I would be disappointed. But also I would not buy a ticket to a festival just for one artist. And I think that does, like, it kind of distances me from being able to completely understand being actively mad about Chappell Roan. Because, like, there very much still wasn't a whole music festival going on, and she just wasn't there. So it's like not totally high and dry. Like, I get it. I would probably also be disappointed, but like not enough to make me actually mad about her. And there was so much like going on also, and I think everybody deserves to be able to call off of work when they need to, and I don't think I can believe that and also be really mad about somebody canceling a festival performance. Sorry, I'm catching up on chat here. Yes, it was all things go while most people were still driving on the way to the venue, which does suck, but I also fear for Chappell. Absolutely, completely agree. Just got here, a wild concept for a stream. I'm so seated. Thank you. Hello, it's my first stream ever. I was thinking about doing this as like just a portion of a future video towards the, because I'm circling back on some things for the end of the year, and I like scripted a Drake Bell follow-up earlier, and I was like, what else have I talked about this year that I want to follow up on? And then I was thinking maybe like, oh, this is the only idea I've had for like a live stream that hasn't made me feel really anxious. So very excited about this. Yeah, nuance in that Chappell is a human being who deserves her peace, but people being upset are valid in doing so as long as they don't target Chappell in their anger. Completely agree. Oh no, I'm late to the live. No, yeah, we're just getting started. We still have like half of these on here. Hi, hello. If I spent the money to be there for Chappell, I'd be upset, but I'd try to have a good time. Yeah, absolutely. And I think All Things Go also was the one where they had like a bunch of drag queens do like a dance party where her slot would have been. And I think that was a really fun solution. I feel like a lot of Chappell Roan fans probably had a really good time with that. Hey, Opie. Hi, Lauren. Oh, there are 40 people here. Wow. Oh, 43. Wow. Okay. Hello. Opie thought only a few people would come, and I didn't know how to tell her that wouldn't be the case. Yeah, that's because I was like talking to him. I was like, okay, if I go live, like, will you help me moderate? And he tells me like, oh yeah, you should schedule it. And I was like, I don't know, because I don't know how many people are going to show up, and I'd rather not have like a ton of people. Because if there were 43 of you here earlier when I was trying to set up the stream, I would have like shut it off and then cried. So I'm glad that we had like a little trickle-in effect going on while I was having my technical difficulties. All right. Okay, and then let's see. Catching up on the chat again. Landlords are driving me insane lately. Got denied because I was the only income. Then had someone say roommates are not allowed unless you're related. Unless you're related, that sucks. Who lives with their family? Like, roommates are people that you're not related to normally. Like kind of categorically. I'm sorry, like, I shouldn't laugh, but like I've been there with landlords, and it is horrible and awful, but for sure, like, roommates should not have to be related to you. Love you, Ophi. Can't stick around for the stream, but I'm keeping it playing on my phone so you get the view. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Oh, thank you, Marty. Okay, as an neurodivergent person who is very, very used to people canceling last minute, yeah, it's sad and it hurts, but I learned how to deal with it when I was 7. People are people and shit comes up. Completely agree. Yeah. I used to get, well, there are a lot of things that I used to get like shit with my family from. But when I was a little kid, I would always want to know like what's going on, what's the plan, where are we going after church? Do we get to go home after church, or do we have to go somewhere else? Like, whatever, you know. And my older siblings and my parents would always be like, just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. And it's like, the number one best thing about being an adult is that nobody ever gets to tell me to go with the flow. Nobody ever gets to tell me to go with the flow. I am creating the flow. And it's like, it's not like it would have been impossible to just loop me in on what was going on when I was a child. But they just didn't want to have to. But yeah, like I definitely, I have frustrations when plans don't go through and when things cancel and stuff, but it's like, oh my God, at least let me know what's going on. Imagine your family being blood and not found, literally. I can go with the flow if I'm in charge, 100%. Yep, yeah, if I'm making the flow, I'm good. Dude, yes, that family structure is so relatable. I need structure, 100%. Nice to see you getting more eyes and love on your videos. You deserve it. Love your nuanced perspective. Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, I've talked about this in some of my videos before. I don't know why I'm like, I thought I would have a much harder time talking to a camera. Which is silly because I've been doing this for a year, but like normally it's not immediate feedback like this. I know I've mentioned this in some of my videos before though, that I don't talk to my family at all anymore. I have two out of three of my siblings I still speak to sometimes, but like not to my parents or anybody else. I forget sometimes that like people my age have like parents, and that's something that when I was because I basically, and I have mentioned this in videos too, like I basically have kind of not been dating for a few years, and part of why I didn't want to date for a few years is I was in like my early middle 20s, and I would go on dates with these women and they would be like, oh yeah, my parents pay my rent, and like I see my mom and dad every week, and I would just be like, we live in different worlds. Like, we have completely different experiences, and it's like, it's not like that like completely makes it unmanageable, but it did just like, there was, I don't know, I feel like I have a hard time like feeling like somebody actually believes me how bad my home life was if they're not like at least somewhat estranged from half of their parents. Which is not a fair standard to hold people to. But, like, for dating, it's just, like, I need to know that I can relate. And, like, I went on a date one time and I mentioned, like, oh, yeah, oh, my light just died. I hope that didn't make the camera look too bad. I'll turn my lamp on. Oh, but, like, yeah, I'll just, like, I would mention it one time on a date and somebody would, like, just not know how to do the standard, like, oh, that sucks, and then, like, move on and let me talk about something else. Like, they would want to know too much. And it's like, I will tell you, but you gotta give me some time. Feel that Ophia overplan. I need to know every detail of what we're doing, 100%. We're a big old queer ass polyqueer looking for a home. Yeah. And, like, that should be fine. Like, that's a lot of people. Like, you have more people if you're, like, polyamorous, so they should want to give you a house. I had that a lot in high school when I went to a private on a scholarship, and it was hard making friends, partially because they were just living in a completely different world. Yeah, no, it's like, I don't know, it's difficult. What I'm hearing is you want a trauma bond. It's not exactly that either, because the thing is like, I want to be able to mention that I don't talk to my parents and then not have it be a big deal. Like, I don't want them to have to ask me everything, and I especially don't want to hear like all about their own like bad relationships, especially, oh my god, I this is like, it's a lesbian cliche, so I don't actually know if this is worse with like dating women than it is, but like when you go on a date with a woman and they want to tell you all about how terrible their last girlfriend was, and it's like, do you like me, or do you like the idea that I might really bond to you with the idea that I hate your ex-girlfriend? And like, I feel like it's hard to find a way to like casually drop that there are no parents in the picture and also not have them want to like sniff out all the information before you want to talk about it. It's just weird. It's like, it's a weird place to be in, and it's literally why in my early 20s I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait until a 30-year-old who was interested in me wouldn't be creepy. Because I feel like by the time I'm dating like a 30-year-old woman, it's somebody who's far enough out of college that even if her parents do have money, they're not still like dealing with her shit for her. Queer random trauma droplet and move on etiquette, 100%. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people can't understand if they aren't in a similar situation, but some can empathize. 100%. Yeah, and like that's very flippant for me to say like they can't understand if they're not at least somewhat estranged. But like I want somebody who's at least been through a couple weeks where they didn't talk to their parents. Don't want it to be a big deal thing is so real. Like my thought is like, I'm not mentioning this to bum you out. This was just my experience. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. Like it's like, no, like I would like to hear about your stuff. I might have a hard time relating to the idea of like your parents paying thousands of dollars a month because you have a 1-bedroom apartment somehow in the middle of the city. But like, I do still want to hear about it. And I would much rather talk about that than like my sad childhood. But now I feel like because you asked me about my parents, we have to talk about my sad childhood. I'm estranged in my 30s, and at this point in my life, I'm dating someone my parents don't even come up until like 6 months in. Yeah, right. Like it's like people ask you less once they think you're not as young, which like I just gotta wait that one out, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, we got very, very off track here. Let's say yelling at the photographer during the VMAs. Chappell, use your sword challenge. I told you this was going to be very sword heavy. Have you ever considered setting up a Discord server? I am never gonna set up a Discord server. I understand when people do. I just think like with a lot of the things that I talk about, it would be very, very difficult for me to moderate in a way that would remain safe. Because I know that I have a lot of people in my audience who have like been through some big, heavy trauma, and I made that decision for myself. Like back when I was first covering the Alexa stuff, I was like, okay, her Discord server got really bad. I don't want to make a Discord server. Like I understand, and I think if my videos were more lighthearted, usually I might be more interested in a Discord server. But I think like the amount of labor that would take for me to moderate or for me to get other people to moderate for me, like I would want to be able to pay them, and I'm like way far away from that being a possibility. But yeah, so yelling at the photographer during the VMAs. Heavy is the Chappell that carries the sword. Yeah, so I still am not entirely sure what happened with that. Because I've seen, even in like a write-up that I read earlier about like this last year for Chappell Roan, they said that the guy yelled "shut the fuck up" at her. And I just like, I'm glad he got yelled at either way, but I'm still not sure if he was yelling at her or if he was yelling at somebody else and her like lesbian chivalry instinct pushed in, or like he was yelling at somebody else and she thought he was yelling at her, so she defended herself. But that's when like the iconic like she like, not me bitch, you. Like I love her so much. She had the right to do that. Like I thought that was great. And I also saw after the fact some people were saying that like he famously, that photographer guy famously like yells and harasses other famous people at the VMAs and other events like that. And so people were like grateful to her for having done that, because people just put up with it because they're like, oh, I'm here, this is like a big night, like whatever, I'm just gonna let this guy scream at me. Like we need more people who are going to say, shut the fuck up, don't tell me that, like don't talk to me like that. Like I love her, I want her to do stuff like that more often. And I think she did have her sword that night, but just not at the time. Oh my god, the lesbian who hates her ex and needs you to know that though. Yeah, it's rough. It's like, I find it funny that both lesbians and straight women complain about their dates talking shit about their ex. LOL, I think it's just being a bad person at that point. Yeah. Yeah, because, like, if, like, a straight woman, you're right, because, like, straight women do complain about, like, a man will say, like, oh, my ex is crazy, and I think lesbians, a lot of the time, maybe they know better than to say crazy, or they'll, like, well, actually, that was a very broad statement. Lesbians maybe less often are doing the whole, like, oh, she's crazy and she had crazy eyes and she just went crazy on me. But, like, they are, like, they want to tell you the entire, like, rise and fall of their relationship. Like, maybe if they tell you everything that happened, they'll, like, go back through it and then actually still be together. And you're like, why are we on a date right now? Like, why did you tell me you want to come out with me? Like, I went on a couple of dates with this one girl one time, and she was so clearly in love with her roommate, and she got so mad at me when I told her, like, hey, it was nice getting to know you, but, like, you have clearly already found your person, and it is your roommate with whom you have a joke marriage license on the wall. Like, there is no room in used why you said yes when I asked you out. But it was like, she definitely, honestly, I hope those two are together, because we went out the day that the roommate broke up with her boyfriend. And I really think if the boyfriend and the roommate had broken up any earlier, like, we would not have still been out. Oh, did this stream cut? Oh my god. I'm being sabotaged by that girl I went on a date with who was in love with her roommate. That's what I get. That's what I get for going too deep. Okay. Streaming for like an hour already. Oh my goodness. Oh wow, there's a lot of people here. Hello. Okay, so let's do, I think said no to White House pride. I feel like I just need to put something in you people don't deserve her. And I think we're gonna go with sword or leave Chappell alone for when they got mad again later about Kamala. So we'll say you people don't deserve her for said no to White House pride. And if anybody doesn't remember this was obviously back in like June. Chappell Roan was asked to perform at the White House like event for Pride, and she said no. I thought this was cool. I did see a handful of very smarmy, like, resist libs being mad at her about this and being like, oh my god, there is... Can you see this? This is... It's just, like, on my microphone. Is it still cutting out? Oh no. Okay, all right. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but I'm gonna try to continue so we can at least finish the tier ranking. Okay, so yeah, she said no to performing at the White House for Pride, and a lot of smarmy Twitter liberals were mad at her for that, and also for not wanting to endorse Kamala Harris, which I am dropping right into the sword challenge since I just already mentioned it. This pissed me off. This really pissed me off. I think I already made like my whole Chappell Roan is not a secret Republican video, so I don't really need to continue to go into why that pissed me off, but this one really was frustrating to me, especially because, as somebody else already mentioned in the chat, like, Chappell has been very outspoken on a lot of very progressive issues, so to see her and hear her say all of that and then be like, oh, she's secretly a Republican just because she won't vote the way I want her to, or like, we won't be told to vote the way we want her to tell us to vote, even though we're already voting that way. So she's secretly a Republican, and we get to discuss about who she is and what she believes in. Like, I just can't imagine how frustrating that would be. And I definitely have, like, a bit of a parasocial thing going on with Chappell Roan to begin with, but, like, I did all that research about her for the Chappell Roan is not a secret Republican video, and one of the things that she was talking about is how, like, she really struggles with, like, feeling like she just is worried that she's not a good person, and that was something that was really difficult for her as a teenager. And I just can't imagine being, like, under that much of a microscope suddenly and having people be like, well, she's not a good person. Like, I can't imagine how shitty that would feel when very, very clear about where her morals are. So that really frustrates me. That goes in the Chappell Use Your Sword challenge tier, for people being mad at her for stupid reasons. Checking the chat here. She announced that she wouldn't while dressed as Lady Liberty, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she was at the New York City Gov Ball, and they were like, they had invited her, and I think it already came out that she wasn't going to, or maybe it was like the same weekend. I can't remember. I feel like they were like around at the same time, and she did Gov Ball instead, maybe. But, you know. So we have... Oh, I'm sorry, I just saw something in chat. I love that biphobia gets put in the leave my favorite pop star alone category instead of nuance. I love biphobia. Being a bi person is awesome. Well, I was describing earlier why I don't think that Good Luck Babe is actually talking about bisexuals, and lesbian purity testing was actually where we were discussing, like, people being biphobic towards Chappell Roan, or, like, misplacing biphobia towards her. Don't mean... I apologize if that comes across incorrectly. You could maybe explain what you mean a little bit more, but I do mean I don't believe that Good Luck Babe refers to bisexual women, so therefore I wanted people to leave her alone, and not that I mean that I don't think that things against bisexual women are bad. Yeah, I don't know. All right. So, canceling the Paris show to perform at the VMAs. Are we gonna do You People Don't Deserve Her? Are we gonna do Leave Chappell Alone? Let's see. Oh, I did not mean nuance. We did put canceling festival performances and nuance. I think I'm going to put it in You People Don't Deserve canceling it to go to the VMAs, and people were acting like it was the VMAs that were like... People were acting like it was bad that she canceled to go to the VMAs, even though they were people who would have only seen her perform at the VMAs. Sorry, I'm just going to drink some water real quick. I'm like losing my train of thought looking at the chat a little bit. People were really mad about her canceling this small show in Paris. I believe the show in Paris had only like a couple of hundred capacity anyway, and then she was clearly canceling so that she could go perform at the VMAs. People were really mad about that, and I feel like it was more than fair for her to cancel a small show in order to go to the VMAs, because the VMA performance was so incredible, and like we got to see this lesbian burn down this castle and sing this song about compulsory heterosexuality like at the VMAs, and that was really, really cool. So I feel like that was more than worth canceling the Paris show for, but also, as evident by what I said about canceling festival performances in general just being normal, like, I would have been fine with her canceling that Paris show even if she was not going to perform at the VMAs. But then she did perform at the VMAs, and it was incredible, and she served so much. Be a cool kid and spill your water. Yeah, Made of Stardust, you definitely weren't here. No offense, you weren't here when we talked about Chappell Roan, Good Luck Babe, because I specifically defined, like, I don't think that nothing but his wife is something she's actually saying to a real bisexual woman. I think that it is an inner fear that she's talking about for herself. like it's a song about compulsory heterosexuality. So the nightmare is when Chappell, wakes up with her head in her hands. She's nothing more than some man's wife. I think it's okay if we have different opinions about this. But that was why I sorted it the way that I did, was because I was saying this is a song that is about compulsory heterosexuality and not about bisexual women. I don't think the song works if it's about bisexual women. I think the song only works as a song about compulsory heterosexuality. And I don't think that that is biphobic for a lesbian to have, like, feelings and emotions about working through her own compulsory heterosexuality and to be glad to have gotten through that or afraid of what her life would look like if she didn't. I just, as I said earlier when I was already talking about that, and this is an issue with, like, a live rather than a recorded video, but as I said earlier, like, I just truly do not believe that it's a song about a bisexual woman. I think it's a song about Chappell Roan. The VMA performance was really cool, but European fans often feel forgotten compared to American fans who get a lot more shows, so I think it does deserve some nuance. Yeah, I think maybe I'll put that under nuance and not under you people don't deserve her, because it's like, it's more consistent with putting festivals there. And I think there were very few shows in the European portion of that tour. It is my first live, yes, thank you. Hi, Valerie. All right, and then doesn't want to take pictures with fans. Chappell, use your sword challenge, 100%. Made of Stardust, I think we disagree. I think you don't like Chappell, so I'm not entirely sure why you're on a video where I'm saying that I don't agree with people who disagree with Chappell. Like, I think we just disagree about this. I apologize if you felt like that was a dig on bisexuality, but it was not. Does not want to take pictures with fans. Chappell, use your sword challenge, because that's not even what was actually happening, but that's what gets repeated over and over again as if it's like an actual statement that she made. That's what she got, like, mocked at. I'm not going to continue to read these comments. Sunny, if you want to ban, you can, but, like, I don't think the existence of a lesbian person is biphobic. Oh, thank you, Sunny. I'm from Latin America, and it's even worse than Europe, so I'd be very pissed if she canceled a show there to go to the VMAs. Yeah, that's fair. The haters do not have a point. Yeah, I 100%. I knew I knew when I put that in that it was not gonna go there. Nobody was gonna have a point against Chappell Roan. Thank you very much, Sunny, for being my bisexual moderator here. Yeah, I mean, I like I said to them, I don't really get exactly what the... Do you think you're going to talk me into hating Chappell Roan on a stream I made about people being stupid for being mad at Chappell Roan? But that is kind of like, I guess, kind of a good example of like the rules we fly by here for content moderation. Like, you're allowed to disagree with me, but after a few back and forths where it's very clear that there's like not actually anything useful that's going to happen, there's really not any point in like clogging stuff up with that. I've had people tell me calling myself bi is panphobic, and I was just like, fuck off. I have no issue with when people want to refer to themselves as pansexual, obviously, like, that's completely fine, but I do have a lot of defensiveness for my bisexual friends who are told by people who are, like, more comfortable with the pan title that pan is the more progressive version of bisexual. I think that's really unfair to be like, well, actually, my version of what you are is better, and if you don't call yourself my version of it, that's bad. Like, I don't think that's very useful, even though I think, like, sure, I believe the difference between bisexual and pansexual can be important for other people. But yeah, I don't know. Bisexual moderator is so funny. That needs to be a title. Certified bisexual moderated live. Yeah. So I'm glad I didn't do more than 10 because that took me a very long time to get through my 10. Yeah. I don't have Ophi come to Brazil. I have always wanted to be asked to come to Brazil. Okay, weird question, but it seems like she's getting more criticism than the other pop girlies are getting. Am I crazy for thinking that? No, I don't think you're crazy at all for thinking that. I think it's 100% like, I think there's like, well, I said 100% and then now I'm like, it's 100% a whole bunch of these different things. But like, I think it is a combination of like being a visibly gay person puts you at more like level of getting criticism from other people. It gives her like, she is gender non-conforming because she is a drag queen, so like people also don't like that. And also like having sex with women is also gender non-conforming. Like it technically is. So I think all of that like ties together and people are just way too hard on her. And then also she is like, I think she's right around my age. What year was she born? My Google is autofilling that because I Googled it before. Yeah, she's just a little bit older than me because she was born in February of 98 and I was born in July of 98. And I would not be able to handle being as famous as Chappell Roan is, even a little bit. So, like, I would not want to be famous right now at all. The main difference I've seen with bi versus pan is when transphobes try to use it to be turfy. I have definitely, and that's the thing too, like I feel like I've heard people say, oh, pansexual is trans inclusive, and I'm just always like, but that's not true. Like bisexuality has always been, like, it has always been bisexual. Like, it has always been bisexual, that's true. It's always been trans inclusive, and it's like, you don't actually have to, like, cut that off, but, yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat again. Yeah, not crazy at all. People have been unusually cruel. I agree. I think people have been unusually cruel. I also think people were meaner to Chappell Roan for suspecting that she was a Republican than they were to Katy Perry, who, like, actually voted for a Republican in that one, like, governor or mayor recall thing or whatever. Like, Katy Perry is an actual Republican, and she gets away with a lot more, and she tries to do a lot less good. Ophi come to Brazil specifically for a Chappell show. Chappell and Ophi come to Brazil and play with Pablo Vittar. Ophi play the VMAs. I cannot play anything. I usually just say I'm queer. It's easier. Yeah. I pretty much just got here, but I'd love to see more of these tier lists from you. Thank you. This is actually really fun. So I might definitely do this more often if there's more interest in this. I definitely would need to come up with some more ideas. But this was really, really fun. Katy Perry panders to men. Of course, she gets less criticism. Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, actually. I think there's definitely... You end up with a more forgiving audience base, I think, if you're going for the gay men and not for the gay women. The gay women are like, you know, we want to love you, but then we're going to find a way to say that she's being possessive and misogynistic against all bisexual women just because she wrote a song about compulsory heterosexuality. My experience with the distinction between bi and pan was actually hearing from other trans people that they felt more comfortable with pan people, but also I'm old and feel like things have changed. I think there's like, I don't know, I really don't, like, I don't have an issue with it until somebody is telling the other side of the bi-pan divide that they're not allowed to call themselves what they've already been calling themselves. Like, I just don't, I don't know. I'm like very much talking outside of my own lane since I'm a lesbian. But like I think it's fine to call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, and also like yeah, and that's also why I'm sure a lot of people just use queer. Yeah, I always use queer unless people ask. I'm pretty fluid on gender, so I find queer to be all encompassing. Yeah, I think definitely when there's gender, queer also can be very comfortable. Um, at a time, my ID is pan, but I use bi now. And if you know me at all, you know I am not excluding trans and gender fluid. Yeah, unlike Katy, unlike Katy Perry, Chappell's queer imagery and outreach is actually authentic. Uh huh. I didn't talk about this in my Chappell Roan video because I ended up finishing it before the VMAs happened or whatever. Or like I finished it the night the VMAs were happening. But whatever. Katy Perry, like very performatively, like with another singer on stage, and it made me mad. Like and it maybe shouldn't have. Like it didn't make me like mad, but it definitely made me roll my eyes because I was like, girl, are you like thinking that you're still the most subversive thing happening here? Because like you gave the game away with I Kissed a Girl being about your boyfriend. We want to talk about something that's not very nice to bisexual women. I think I Kissed a Girl erases bisexual women more than Good Luck Babe does. I Kissed a Girl implies that there's no reason you would ever kiss a girl other than for male attention. I don't think that's why bisexual women kiss women. But I remember thinking like, oh, she probably thinks that that's going to be like the gayest and coolest thing that happens on that stage. And then like, you know, it's not because Chappell Roan is also there. Yeah, I'm chilling. If you're queer, you're incredibly awesome. And I love queer people. I love gays. Yep. Yeah, I know what anti-trans dog whistles sound like, and bi isn't one. Agree. Yeah, like pretty much every single trans person I know is bi. Older queers who remember 9/11. Oh, do you want to hear something weird? The other night, my YouTube recommendations decided that it wanted to give me the news from the morning of 9/11, and it was like 45 minutes of morning news from September 11th, 2001, and I watched it. I watched the whole thing. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why YouTube gave it to me. I have never watched a video essay about 9/11 before. Like, I don't know where they decided I would be interested in that, but I was fascinated. It had, like, commercials and stuff. Anyway, I don't remember 9/11. I was 3? Because I was born in 98. Yeah. I my mom watched the news that morning with my dad, and then she said she watched the news that morning with my dad, and then she was like, this happened because I watched the news. So we weren't allowed to watch the news at all in my house as a child. So then when this news broadcast came across my YouTube, I was like, I have to watch it. This is full circle. Still mourning the fact that I Kissed a Girl is how I learned about lesbians. So glad the younger generations have Chappell instead. I cannot imagine growing up with Chappell Roan as like a possibility. That would be so fucking cool. Clancy Clementine, I watched that video too. Yeah, it was like really well edited because they had like probably 7 different channels at least, like 7 different news channels. It was wild, but I still don't really know why I watched it. Like I got like 5 minutes into it, and then I realized like, oh my god, I'm gonna sit here and watch the whole thing. So that's when I sent it to my best friend, and I was like, hey, do you want to watch this? But like, why did I do that? 10 years old. Yeah, 10 is definitely old enough to remember in a way that 3 is not. How dare you be young? I Kissed a Girl helped me figure out some things when I was young, but it also didn't take me very long to think about how bad it was. Yeah, it's not good. It's it could have been, like, I remember hearing it and being like, ooh, I feel strange. But, yeah, not as good as it could be. Transphobes try to make bi into a dog whistle, and usually pan is described as it being about all genders rather than two, so I feel like younger people who were raised seeing that don't know the history. Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's also why I feel like it, like, feels important that people are clear about the fact that even as far back as, like, I'm pretty sure even, like, the creator of the bisexual flag or something like that, like, explicitly mentioned bisexuality, including trans identities. Hey, you said your history, you had an envy self-concept, your lane isn't as narrow as you think, perhaps, like you said, women who love women is already non-conforming. That's true. Yeah, I always feel weird talking about it, because I wasn't, like, transitioned in that I'm, like, now, like, a detransitioner. I sometimes use, like, the term, like, re-identified. Like, I re-identified with, like, womanhood. But I did identify as non-binary for a couple of years, and I used they, them pronouns, and, had my head completely shaved. I still have, like, my sides. But I had my head totally shaved, and I used they, them pronouns. And I didn't wear any makeup at all for, like, 2 solid years. And then I eventually, like, I ended up coming back into terms and being like, oh, I, like, actually can feel like I look like myself and, like, enjoy putting colors on my face and stuff. But I never know, like, how upfront with that to be when I talk about things, because I'm, like, I wasn't non-binary enough that I feel like I have any, like, say in a conversation. Like, I wasn't going to transition or anything, but also, like, I do feel like I understood what that was like at the time that I was non-binary. And so it does make me, like, feel like I have, I don't know, It puts me in an interesting place when I talk about trans things, because it's like I don't want to come across like I'm a detransitioner, and I also don't want to, like, steal non-binary valor when I now am, like, perfectly happy with she, her pronouns. But it's weird. Yeah, that's definitely, it's just Ophi lore at this point. What a great excuse not to watch the news to avoid 9/11 Part 2. I was 11 and very sick and missed it. I asked my parents later what 9/11 was, and they said don't worry about it, so I didn't. Why is that like the don't worry kitten, okay, yay meme? That one song, You're So Gay, is Katie's? Yes, it is. It was a banger video, though. It really captured what I assume it would be like to channel surfing that day. Yeah, it was really, really well edited. Like, I can't imagine how long that would take. I was homeschooled till 16. I chose to get an education, and my mom kicked me out. My mom was an ultra-conservative Christian. I was homeschooled, too. You might have been saying that because I mentioned it, and then I forgot that I mentioned it, or you might, because I have, like, said it in videos. But, yeah, I was homeschooled whole way through, and it was horrible. My worry about being trans right now is it'll still be several more generations before we are on stage to sing about our experiences. I don't hold it like are these privileged lesbians, but I do want it to happen. Yeah, absolutely. And I do, like, Ezra Furman. I wish Ezra Furman could have, like, as much love and as big of, like, a tour and, like, audience as Chappell Roan. I adore Ezra Furman. I think Transangelic Exodus, that's one of my favorite albums of all time. It is so good. But she just has not, like, gotten quite as much exposure, even amongst, I feel like, gay and trans circles as Chappell Roan has, because Chappell also, like, broke over into the mainstream. Honestly, my self-concept as a trans dude went from I have to be so masked to be valid to now being like, hey, sometimes painting my face and wearing skirts that swish is too fun to not. 100%, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I like, it's just, I think I would feel differently about wearing makeup if I was, like, contouring my face and stuff, but, like, it's literally just painting colors onto my face. Maple P also grew up homeschooled conservative Christian. There are dozens of us. I shaved my head and identify as non-binary, but I'm really more gender fluid. I loved having my head shaved. I'm really enjoying, like, my hair is getting wavy as it's getting longer, and I'm really enjoying that, but I loved my shaved head. I still think about it in the summer. I'm always like, should I do it again? Someone who is gender fluid and interacts with the detransitioner, somewhat kink community on Tumblr. Detransitioners who aren't a piece of shit are valid, and a lot of them are gender fluid. Yeah, no, a lot of them, like, are not shitty. It's just the ones who get put on the news and, like, circulated by all of these people are, like, terrible. There's not really a non-binary light or a non-binary who didn't get the right experience, or a non-binary but just for cred, you didn't do it wrong. Being actual medical trans, I still prefer to include, not exclude. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Ezra, yes. Yeah, I love Ezra. Like I said, Transangelic Exodus is my favorite, but also I think they're in, like, most of the seasons of Sex Education, too, and that was really, really fun whenever their songs would pop up on that. Hearing you guys talk about how most of your trans friends are bi, I have a really different experience. My friends are trans lesbians, and my own twin sister is a trans heterosexual. I accept her, though. Shaving my head was awesome. I shaved my head and ended up trans mask. I like how different people's journeys are. I miss it, too. Yes, it's so good. I love shaving my head. Like, I still enjoy getting, like, my back of my head shaved, too, because it's, like, my hair is really thick. Like, I always have part of it clipped back usually in videos because I get annoyed at how big it is otherwise. But that makes me need the sides shaved. But I loved the aesthetic of just, like, I was, like, full on, like, cue ball. Agreed, detrans people need support. It's a whole position they have to occupy if you understand. I just hate when they're propaganda cases. I completely agree. Yeah, I have a lot of empathy, and that's, like, that is something that I have wanted to talk about on the channel, is, like, just the way that TERFs, like, pull in people who are detransitioned, but they're doing that by being so cruel and saying such mean things about their bodies and stuff, too, and it's just, like, all of this would be so much less of a problem if detransitioning and retransitioning didn't have to be a big deal and people could just do whatever they want with their bodies. I miss shaving my head as well. I always hated the in-between hair stage where I looked like an anime character. Yep, yeah. Once my hair is just long enough, I start getting, like, these little cowlicks out. Being genderqueer is the internal conflict of I want my hair short, no wait, but my long hair looks good. Yep. Yeah, I did my first pixie cut when I was, like, I think 15 or 16, and then I just kept progressively getting longer until I eventually, like, shaved, and then I grew bangs, and then I grew out, like, undercut, and then now I have this. Now I have, like, a lot of hair. But it's still not as much as if I didn't shave the backs. I'm trying so hard not to shave my head right now, and you guys are not helping. Yeah, no, bad influence chat here. A lot of trans people definitely get an inherent ick about detransitioners, and I'm definitely going to make a detransitioners are valid video. Yeah, I think that's good. If you watched, I feel like you probably have. I feel like almost everybody who watches my videos also watches Matt Bernstein, A Bit Fruity. But Matt Bernstein had a guest on who was like a detransitioner, or I can't remember exactly. I think maybe they used desister. I can't remember what language they preferred. It wasn't exactly detransitioner that they liked. But it was a really, really nice and, like, thoughtful and empathetic conversation. And I really wish that there was, like, a lot more of that, because it's just, people are really willing to paint them as, like, traitors to the trans cause on one side, and then they're also not even actually getting fully accepted with the radical feminists, because the radical feminists want to be able to call them irreparably damaged, and it is horrible. It's just so mean. I'm sorry, I'm talking so much, the sides of my lipstick feel very gummy. I'm anti-shaving for everything but our heads. Long hair on pits, cue ball his head. 100%. Yeah, I'm not shaving anywhere else, but I will shave the sides of my head. Braid the pits, shave the dome. Yes. It's that so much detrans is presented to us only as propaganda. Most detrans do retrans though. Right. They leave that out. But like, even if somebody does detransition, I feel like they're I said often twice. But I feel like even with people who have detransitioned, often they're like not furthering their transition, but they are still happy with the effects of their transition so far. But they're being expected to talk about their body like it was like irreparably damaged, and like there's like this whole big problem with it when there's not. The people on Twitter saying Matt looked like Katy Perry. I didn't see that. I think a lot of detrans people, even the ones who end up not identifying as trans in any way, aren't super trans supportive. Not a lot end up like that one Twitter weirdo who's also a Zionist. Right. That's the other thing, is it's like, for every weirdo on Twitter who you see who is super hateful and mean, there are like 100 people who just realized that they're not trans and are normal about it. Like, there are a lot of people who had very similar experiences with their gender identity to what I described about my own. I'm friends with a lot of them. Plus, shaving your partner's head and having them do yours is such a fun bonding time. Hair time feels so good. And you can, like, scratch your head over it, like, scratch your hand over the head like a dog. It's the best. All right. Well, I think I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't have anything else left on my chart. And we've been here for about an hour and a half, but this was really, really fun. I would really like to do this again soon. I think I'll have to come up with some good tiers, some good things to rank. But I really appreciate everybody coming out and being so active in the chat. This was a blast. I think if we normalize that going on a gender journey is just a normal part of life for a lot of people, even those who wind up cis, then detrans as a concept just won't be a big deal anymore. Yeah, right, exactly. That's the thing. Like, everybody should be able to just do what they want to do with their body, and it should be fine if that doesn't last forever, and if it does last forever, that's also fine. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. This was so much fun. I love having conversations with you all. I love defending Chappell Roan. It's fun to talk gender for a little bit. I'm gonna be putting out a video soon. I'm doing like a follow-up on the Drake Bell Redemption tour. I was doing some research for that earlier today, and that's when I was like, maybe I feel good enough to try streaming. So hopefully that will be out soon. I have like a lot of ideas for just the very last few weeks of this year. So I'll be around a lot. But yeah, it was very, very fun to hang out with you all. And thank you so much for hanging out. I'll see you again soon. Thank you, Sunny, for being my bisexual moderator. Bye.